It is the first day of 2021 today. And so I want to make my way too early 2021 MLB season predictions. So that's what I'm going to do in today's video. Obviously, 2020 was not the greatest year ever, but yeah, hopefully it'll be a better 2021. So yeah, we're going to do my way too early 2021 MLB season predictions in today's video. So leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into this video. 68% of you that watch these videos are not subscribed, though. Get your life together. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, leave a like on this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a like. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into this video talking about my way too early 2021 MLB season predictions. Now, in this video, I am going off today's video is the first in 2021, obviously. Now, I know that the big free agents have not signed just yet, but there have been some big trades so far this offseason. Also, this is going off the offseason so far, and what I project to happen this offseason realistically. This is going off my free agent predictions mostly, and what I see happening in trades. I've done videos on both of those. So if you really want to see what I think is going to happen there, then check those videos out. They'll probably be linked in the description below. But that's what I'm going to go off in today's video. So if your team you feel like should be a little bit higher, they need to make some moves this offseason to get higher in my rankings or for the standings, and I do not project them to, so they will surprise me. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with the AL teams. Coming in 5th place is the Baltimore Orioles in the AL East. The Orioles did not finish in 5th place in 2020 like many expected. The Orioles are going to be a little better in 2020. Trey Mancini will be coming back. They're by far best player in 2019. The Orioles have not made many moves this offseason. The only move they made was traded Jose Iglesias to the Angels for pretty much nothing. The Orioles had some major surprise players, including Rio Urias, Jose Iglesias, and others last season. They did not have a great 2020 draft. They drafted Hester Kegerstad with their first round pick, which was 2nd overall, I'm pretty sure. And drafting him was way too high. I think we all thought that was too high. But the Orioles had a great 2019 draft. They drafted Adley Rutschman, a catcher, with their 1st overall pick, who's their top prospect right now, who will probably be up around the 2021 or 2022. Obviously, it sets him back a year that there was no 2020 minor league season. So I see the Orioles coming in 5th place, unfortunately for them. But they're taking a step in the right direction in their rebuild, and they're looking like they're going to have a pretty good future there with Trey Mancini, DL Hall, Grayson Rodriguez, Trey Mancini, Adley Rutschman, obviously. Rio Urias maybe can be good for them. But yeah, they've got a bright future. Coming in 4th place is going to be the Red Sox. The Red Sox finished in last place last season, so they had a very disappointing season. And as of right now, I do not think they will be better than a 5th place team in a really tough division. Chris Sale, their best pitcher, had Tommy John surgery, which many players did not come back well from that injury. But maybe he will be different, like Kevin Durant. He was kind of different from what it's looking like right now in the NBA. The Red Sox have a great lineup. Their lineup is one of the best in baseball. Many of the Red Sox hitters in 2020 were disappointing, including Benintendi, who did not even hit 100 for a 100 average in 2020. Their bullpen is terrible, and the Red Sox seem like they have no plans to sign anyone, and I do not project them to. They were kind of one of those sneaky teams. Barasan Kim didn't do anything. I see another disappointing season from the Red Sox. Coming in 3rd place, this might be one of the biggest bold predictions on this list, the New York Yankees. This one may be a bold prediction. I'm seeing a disappointing offseason for the Yankees. I do not see them re-signing DJ LeMahieu, and I see him going to division rival, the Blue Jays. Stanton and Judge always get injured, and Sanchez is a player that is terrible behind the plate. Hitting is okay, like I've said in multiple videos. Their starting pitching still needs some help. Aaron Boone is not a good manager at all. The Yankees, when healthy, have a good team with or without LeMahieu, but their best players are injured all the time, saying Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton. Their players are always injured, and I do not see them competing in a tough division. Coming in 2nd place is, unfortunately, the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, I would love to put them in 1st place here, them being one of the teams that I do root for in the AL, but unfortunately, the Blake Snell trade does really hurt, not to mention the fact that they did not sign Charlie Morton to a contract, which was pretty just money-driven just to save them a few $1 million, which is kind of ridiculous. Obviously, they have one of the best farm systems in baseball, and Rays fans don't I wouldn't be too mad with this prediction because obviously that could surprise because Blake Snell was their best pitcher in 2020. Tyler Glasnow obviously disappointed in the playoffs, and he's really one of the more overrated players in baseball. Austin Meadows also didn't have that great of a 2020 season, so if I'm going off the 2020 season, Blake Snell was their best pitcher, and they gave him up for Luis Patino, obviously, who's going to be up at 2020 and could be a very good pitcher for this team. Cole Wilcox, and some other catchers. I think Francisco Mejia will be the seal of that trade, and I do expect a kind of breakout season for Francisco Mejia, who they got in that trade. Wander Franco, Vidal Brujan, Xavier Edwards, some of their top prospects will be up soon. I could see them making a big move for Wilson Contreras. I did do these MLB teams must trade for Wilson Contreras video just yesterday, so make sure to check that out. Link in the description below. But yeah, first place is the Toronto Blue Jays. I see some big moves coming for the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have been interested in every big free agent this offseason, and DJ LeMahieu looks – I think they're the favorites to get DJ LeMahieu, and I think they will sign DJ LeMahieu. They missed out on Ha-Seong Kim, unfortunately, for them, and they have a very, very good team. Francisco Lindor, the rumors have really died down about him, even though the Blue Jays are a possibility for him as well. I think, obviously, if they do sign DJ LeMahieu, that's kind of out of the possibilities with them, but they've got a lot of different possibilities. Now, their starting pitching isn't absolutely set right now. They do have Hyun-Jin Ryu, Nate Pearson, and others, but Tanner Roark, who was supposed to be a big move for them, really did not perform too well, and Robbie Ray, they traded for him from the Diamondbacks, obviously for the cheap, but he did not perform too well for them either. I think they could use another starting pitcher, and they could use some other players. So, yeah, those are my AL East predictions. Maybe some bold predictions. Yankees fans, I'm sure you're not too happy about you being in third place, but you're going to have to make some moves, and then I can move you up, possibly. Now moving to the AL Central. Coming in fifth place is the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers have been the dumpster fire of Major League Baseball for years now, and this team their future is looking bright, but as of 2021, it's not looking too good. I'm excited to see Casey Mize up with the team. He looks to be a very good future ace for this team. So the Tigers have something exciting there for a pretty boring team, honestly. Their logo's boring. They're just a boring team, honestly. I'm sorry, Tigers fans, if you think this is a bit brutal, but I'm just telling it the way I see it. They have Spencer Torkelson, who they drafted with the first overall pick, who looks to be a future superstar, getting Paul Goldschmidt comparisons. They've got Tariq Skubal. They've got a very bright future, but right now in 2021, they don't have much promise. Miguel Cabrera could have a breakout season. Nico Goodrum is a player that I think is very, very good, and I'm just waiting for that breakout season for him. Coming in fourth place is the Kansas City Royals. Now, the rumors about Whit Merrifield have kind of died down for the Royals, and they're a team that obviously is not a very good team. Even though they do have some pretty decent hitting, Maikel Franco was really good for them. They need to re-sign him, obviously. Hunter Dozier, Jorge Soler, Whit Merrifield. They've got a lot of different hitters that are pretty good, but we all know they are not constructed like a playoff team. Danny Duffy, they need to trade him. They've got a lot of trade pieces on this team that can maybe bring some good prospects back. Obviously, Whit Merrifield's going to bring some good prospects back. But this team is really needing to just reset and rebuild because this team is not very good at all. They obviously have made some moves this offseason, signing Carlos Santana and re-signing Greg Holland and other players. So they're making moves in the right direction and getting some veterans, and they're trying to build their team right, and I think they're really trying to do that. And I think they're not doing a terrible job of doing that. And the reason I'm saying that they're not doing a terrible job is because Carlos Santana and Greg Holland are good veteran pieces for this team that could be moved at the trade deadline potentially. And Mike Minor, they also got him and Michael A. Taylor. And they've got a lot of veterans that could be pretty good, and they could end up trading him at the deadline. At third place is the Cleveland baseball team. Now, this may be a little generous of a prediction, but I still don't think that the Royals are better than the Cleveland baseball team because that's what's going to be their name in 2021. Or actually, they'll be keeping their other name in 2021, but they will be known as the Cleveland baseball team on this channel. So, yeah, the Cleveland baseball team comes in third place. I don't think Francisco Lindor is staying on this team. Jose Ramirez, there have been like one rumor about him. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe he gets moved this offseason as well. Very interesting. The Cleveland baseball team is a very interesting team. That if they do trade their pieces, then they could be a lot worse. But I still think this pitching rotation and still is enough to push them to maybe a playoff spot or at least third place in a pretty easy AL Central for them, considering fourth and fifth place are taken up by the two bottom teams. So, yeah, coming in second place is going to be the Minnesota Twins. The Twins are a team that the last 2 years have been in the playoffs and cannot get out of the first round, which is very disappointing. They cannot get out of the first round, which is a problem. But there's one team that has got a lot better this offseason that is in front of them that is a better team, in my opinion. Josh Donaldson, their big offseason move in 2019, did not have a very good season, which I know you can't take much account into 2020, but he didn't play very well at all. So, yeah, their team is a good team, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're better than the first place team, which is the Chicago White Sox. The White Sox have made some moves, bringing in Lance Lynn, signing Adam Eaton after he was already with the team. And they have made some big moves, and they really didn't need to make too many moves because this team was already really, really good. And this was an even better move for them. They get Lance Lynn, which I said was one of their top needs was getting another starting pitcher. But they also still need some relief pitching, and they look like they can get a Liam Hendriks. So I'm projecting a lot for this team, and I see them being in first place. Nick Madrigal, I see a big season from him, maybe even a Rookie of the Year type season in 2021. Obviously, Luis Robert was very good, even though he did not beat out Kyle Lewis in the 2020 Rookie of the Year race. The White Sox, very good team. Lucas Giolito is obviously still there. They still could use some relief pitching, like I said. They could bring back Alex Colme, and he would be a very good closer for this team, but I see him more in an eighth inning role. I think they could get Colme and Hendricks both in a COVID market. So now moving on to the AL West. Coming in at fifth place is the Texas Rangers. I would like to see the Rangers do better, but this team really does not. I don't see what's a reason for me to put them higher in my standings because this team has traded Lance Lynn for Dane Dunning, which I'm excited to see Dane Dunning on this team. I'm excited to see Sam Huff come up, who I think is going to be a really good prospect for them. Sheraton Apostle come up, who I think could be a very good prospect for them. Nick Solak, I think, is one of the more underrated players in baseball right now. One of the more underrated young players in baseball. Obviously, you can't take much into account for one season. But Nick Solak is super underrated, I think, and he's going to be really good for the Rangers. Leody Taveras obviously came up, who was a former number one prospect for this team and was not too good. The Rangers, they still have a lot of work to do. Jose Lyric obviously is on the 60-day injured list, and their bullpen is absolutely terrible. I think they're going to be tanking for a top pick in the 2022 MLB draft, which they obviously have the number 2 pick in the 2021 MLB draft. Coming in at fourth place is going to be the Oakland Athletics. Now, I see a I see them going down from their 2020, what they did in 2020. Obviously, they were the winners of the AL West in 2020. But this team is going to get significantly worse with Liam Hendriks probably going, Marcus Semien probably going. Maybe they can bring back Tommy Listell. That's a possibility. But this team looks like they are going to get significantly worse, and their bullpen, I think, is really going to have a tough time in 2021 without Liam Hendriks. That's going to be really tough for them. Not to mention that their starting pitching really is not too much above average. Obviously, they do have Jesus Luzardo and A.J. Puck, which are very good players. But I just don't really see too much of a very good team here. Sean Murphy, obviously, very good. Matt Chapman, Matt Olson. This team could move up, but I always underrate the A's, so it may be the same in 2021. But these are my way too early predictions. Obviously, I'll do some season predictions closer to time. Third place is the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners had a great 2020 season for the expectations that they had, being a fifth-place team. Kyle Lewis was the Rookie of the Year, which Luis Robert was supposed to be the odds-on favorite to be Rookie of the Year in the AL, and Kyle Lewis ended up winning it. Kyle Seager obviously is a good trade asset for this team. Marco Gonzalez is another good trade asset for this team if they don't use him as their ace, which he's one of the more underrated players in baseball too. They have a very good farm system. Obviously, they got a lot of that farm system from the Mets with Jared Kelenic and other players they got from the Mets. So that's tough if you're a Mets fan for Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano. Second place is going to be the Houston Astros. The Astros, obviously, they're going to get booed heavily if fans are back in stadiums for 2021. But that really is not going to affect the performance of this team, I don't really think, because this team is a good team. Alex Bregman's on this team. Carlos Correa is on this team. Yuli Gurriel. Now, yes, they could still win the division, but I see a team ahead of them making some big moves this offseason to get better than the Astros. And they're going to lose Michael Brantley this offseason and George Springer. I would not be surprised if they do fall to third place and the A's move up to second place and the Astros move to third place and the Mariners do move to fourth place. But I see a second place Astros finish without Michael Brantley, without George Springer. I think they still can bring Michael Brantley back if they want to, but it's said that George Springer, the finalists for him are the Blue Jays and the Mets, which I did a whole nother video about that, so check that out. First place, though, is going to the LA Angels. Now, I see some big moves happening from the Angels. This is mainly going off projection right now because the way this team is currently built, they're not built as a team that is going to make the playoffs without starting pitching much of and relief pitching. I think in this type of free agency market that there's no reason why they can't sign a Brandon Kinsler who could be a good player. And I think they will sign Trevor Bauer this offseason. That's my prediction. I think they're going to sign Trevor Bauer this offseason. And, yeah, Mike Trout, Anthony Rendon, Trevor Bauer, Joe Adele, he's supposed to be the next Mike Trout. Even though he was not very good in 2020, they've obviously got Reed Detmeyers in their farm system. Brendan Marsh, who really is going to be, at best, a good trade asset for them. And obviously, they still have Justin Upton on this team, which is not a very good player. Maybe they can trade him for just nothing because just to get off that contract, he is absolutely horrendous, terrible. Yeah, that's what I'm going mainly off projection. If this team stays the way they are built, then they will finish maybe in third place. Honestly, this team I'm going mainly off projection here, like I said. Now we move on to the NL East. Coming in at fifth place is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, this one may be a really bold prediction to a lot of people, but this Phillies team is not constructed like a playoff team, Phillies fans. I'm sorry, but they're not constructed as a playoff team. I just don't think they are constructed as a playoff team. And here's the reason for that. They don't have JT Realmuto, obviously. Rhys Hoskins is not a player that's going to lead you to the playoffs. Bryce Harper, we've seen him. He does not lead teams to the World Series. He does not really lead to much team success except a second or first place finish, and then you're just done from there. And the Phillies, I think, will finish in fifth place. They have absolutely no starting pitching. Relief pitching is absolutely terrible. It's terrible. Obviously, they didn't make a move for Jose Alvarado, but their pitching is absolutely terrible. I don't know why I just don't know why you have higher hopes than fifth place. That's where you finish. Coming in at fourth place is the Miami Marlins. Now, the Marlins finish a little higher than the Phillies here. They're going to be fighting for fourth and fifth place as of right now with the teams that they've constructed. And I don't really think that the Marlins are going to make any big moves in free agency or otherwise this offseason. I think they're going to stay with the team that they've got. Brian Anderson is one of the more underrated players in baseball, in my opinion. But this team overall is just not built like a playoff team, in my opinion. Not at all. Not built like a playoff team. That's why I have the Marlins finishing at fourth place. They're a young team that has a lot of growth to do. And in a few years, they'll be one of the best teams in baseball. Sixto Sanchez, obviously, he's great. He might finish winning the Rookie of the Year in 2021 in the National League, which is kind of interesting considering he's a starting pitcher that pitches every 5 days. But he's that good. They got him in the Phillies JT Realmuto trade, and he is really, really good. Coming in at third place is the Washington Nationals. The Nationals have had that World Series hangover in 2020 where they just were not very good at all in 2020. Now, that was the main part due to injuries with Juan Soto. He had COVID at the first of the season, and obviously Max Scherzer. Steven Strasburg were not the healthiest in 2020, so they kind of tanked, and they will be a lot better of a team in 2021 in my. For what I'm projecting, they've already made a move for Josh Bell, but I see them making a move for a third baseman type player. Maybe they can make a move for a Nolan Arenado. Maybe they can make a move for a Chris Bryant. But I think this team is going to make another big move, and they have obviously great starting pitching. Relief pitching is still kind of but I think they can definitely fix that in the free agent market, even though they're not a team that does spend big money on free agents usually. Now, coming in second place is the New York Mets. The Mets are a team that I said will sign George Springer this offseason, and I do think that it will be the case this offseason that they do sign George Springer. But I still do not think this team is better than the first place team, which I think you can already guess by this point. But if you cannot, then we'll get to that in a minute. But the Mets, they are a team that is very good. They have Jeff McNeil, one of the more underrated players in baseball, Dominic Smith, who really is a trade asset at this point with there not being a DH in 2021 from what it looks like right now. Pete Alonso obviously did not have the greatest 2020 season, but he looks to get better in 2021. For the Mets, Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard, Marcus Stroman, they've got a really, really good team constructed, and they will finish in second place, making the playoffs, I think. Which I'm not going to go through my playoff predictions in this video, my way too early playoff predictions, because I feel like it's kind of too early to make the playoff predictions, but maybe you don't think so. So if you want to see me do a playoff prediction separate video, then leave a like on this video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and yeah, that's what's going to get me to do that video. So, coming in first place is going to be the Atlanta Braves. The Braves have already made some moves this offseason, signing Charlie Morton, signing Drew Smyly. They've already made some moves this offseason, not to mention the fact that they have Ronald Acuna, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies, Dansby Swanson, who was really good in 2020. Marcell Ozuna, obviously, who knows if they'll bring him back. They need to bring him back, whether he's going to be a left fielder or a DH. They need to bring him back. But I still think they're first place with or without Marcell Ozuna. Marcell Ozuna is a great player, but I still think they're first place with or without him. Because Christian Pache is obviously going to come up, and they can make a move for a third baseman like Chris Bryant, considering the package that they got back for Yu Darvish, which was a pretty bad package, if we're being honest. So I think they can make a move for a Nolan Arenado or a Chris Bryant, whichever one they choose to try to trade for. But the Braves are going to finish in first place in the National League East. In the National League Central, the Pirates will finish in fifth place. The Pirates have traded Josh Bell, and they look to be trading Joe Musgrove very soon this offseason. And, yeah, this team does not look like they have much hope at all for the 2021 MLB season. This team is a dumpster fire of Major League Baseball. They trade their players for nothing. This team is not very good. They obviously will have Kumar Rocker coming up soon in the farm system, and O'Neal Cruz was going to be a really good player, I thought, but obviously this stuff happened, and yeah. Coming in fourth place will be the Cincinnati Reds. Now, the Reds have pretty much been ruled out to re-sign Trevor Bauer, which is unfortunate if you're a Cincinnati Reds fan. But the Reds here, they need a breakout season from Shogo Akiyama because he was terrible, and I think he's the odd man out in the outfield right now because he did not play well in 2020. Their rotation is still pretty decent with or without Trevor Bauer, but it looks like Sonny Gray is going to be on the move this offseason, and Luis Castillo could possibly be on the move this offseason. So they are in a situation where they're going to trade everybody, and the Braves, I was just talking about them, they are a team that could trade for Eugenio Suarez, which is on the move possibly to the Nationals, which was a rumor. This team is going to blow it up, it looks like, and this team will finish in fourth place. Obviously, they don't finish in fifth place. They kind of have a guaranteed fourth place just because the Pirates are so bad. Coming in at third place is the Chicago Cubs, another team that's blowing it up, and the NL Central is going to be a very, very weak division, I think, in 2021. The Cubs are a team that's blowing it up, and with their current roster constructed like it is, they still are a third-place team, I think. But this team is – they're not built like a playoff team with their current construction. And here's why they're not. They don't have good pitching. Their relief pitching is just terrible, and their starting pitching is pretty terrible too, especially without Yu Darvish. They traded Yu Darvish for a bunch of 17, 8, and 18-year-olds, And Jed Hoyer, he's trying to defend it, but he really can't. It's a terrible move. I'm sorry, Cubs fans. But your team's blowing it up. You won a World Series with these group of players. Now it's time for the losing to happen again. Second place is the Milwaukee Brewers. I think we all have forgotten how good Christian Yelich actually is. And here's why I think that we have forgotten how good he is. He is such a good player, and we are not really understanding how good of a player Christian Yelich is. Christian Yelich is a very good player. And, I mean, we just, I don't think, are realizing that. 2019 or 2018 NL MVP, and not to mention that that's one of the worst trades in MLB history. Lewis Brinson for Christian Yelich. That was a bad one. We might do a whole video on that bad trade. Coming in first place is the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals are going to get in first place in this division because I do see a big move coming from them this offseason. I think they're going to sign Michael Brownlee, and I do see them maybe getting another starting pitcher or maybe relief pitcher. So the Cardinals are going to finish in first place, which maybe is kind of a little bit of easy division there because the Cubs, Reds, and Pirates are all in that rebuilding phase, and the Brewers really are not too good of competition. They don't really have very good starting pitching at all, and Josh Hader could possibly be on the move this offseason, even though I don't think it will happen. Now let's move on to the NL West, the final division of this video. Coming in at fifth place is the Colorado Rockies. The Rockies, unfortunately, will finish in fifth place. The Rockies, I do see them moving one of Trevor Story or Nolan Arenado this offseason. I think Nolan Arenado is personally more likely just because Nolan Arenado does not seem too happy in Colorado right now. And could you blame him? I don't think you can. So, yeah. Rockies, fifth place. And Charlie Blackmon, obviously, he's a very good player. But this team is not built to be a playoff team with or without Nolan Arenado, with or without Trevor Story. This team is not built to be a playoff team. Their relief pitching is quite terrible, and their starting pitching is quite terrible as well. So, yeah. Fourth place is the Diamondbacks, who disappointed everyone. The Diamondbacks were expected to be in second or third place in many predictions, and I'm pretty sure I predicted them to be in third place. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. You could go ahead and go back and check my 2020 MLB season predictions if you really, really care that much, but I don't think you do. Diamondbacks, Ketel Marte, obviously a very good player who did not perform very well in 2020, but man, this Diamondbacks team, they struggled a lot in 2020. I don't want to take too much account into 2020, though, because it was a very weird year, obviously, the COVID season. And it was just a really weird year, so I don't want to take too much into account. Third place is the San Francisco Giants. This team, wow, they surprised everybody in 2020, which, I mean, good for them. Gabe Kapler, not too bad of a manager, it seems like. Mike Yastrzemski, very good player, one of the more underrated players in baseball. I've said multiple times, I don't like the way this roster is currently built with too many old players, even though maybe these old players are the right mix for success because they do have some young players coming up. Maybe Buster Posey is a good mentor for Joey Bart, but they're going to have a lot of contracts coming off the books after 2021. So maybe they can sign them a big shortstop like a Trevor Story, a whoever. Maybe they can sign a player like that, and maybe it could be pretty good for them. I don't know, but they are going to have a lot of money freed up after the 2021 season, which will help. They're rebuilt a lot, and there's so many good players in the 2021 free agent class, and there's really good players in the 2020 MLB free agent class, 2020/2021 and 2021/2022. So, yeah, the Giants, they finished in third place. Second place is the LA Dodgers. I know Dodgers fans, this is kind of getting you mad, but here's my reasoning behind this. I think the Dodgers still might sign a DJ LeMahieu or a Gio LeMahieu or a Trevor Bauer, which is very, very possible that they do that. But what I see here happening is that the Padres have just made more moves this offseason, and the Dodgers haven't made as many moves. And I'm going strictly off the rosters constructed mostly for this prediction. Do I see the Dodgers making big moves? It's possible. I'm not totally convinced about the DJ to the Dodgers rumors. I'm not totally convinced there. The Dodgers are still a very good team, and even with a wild card team, which they definitely would make the playoffs. They're a wild card team, and it would probably be Dodgers Mets. They could still make a big run in the playoffs, and it could be Dodgers Padres in the NL Championship Series. But coming in first place is the San Diego Padres. The Padres have made a ton of moves. They have the best rotation in baseball, I think. MLB.com thinks so as well. With Yu Darvish, Blake Snell, Dinelson Lamet, Chris Paddock. So many good players for this team. Watch out for the Padres. They probably are the favorites to make the World Series right now. So those are my way too early 2021 MLB season predictions. As of right now, I know this was a super long video. So if you made it to the end, you had to enjoy something. So leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end, you're a legend.